Round of 16, Champions League did one thing this year, and it exposed the Premier League because what we just witnessed is quite shocking. Now, yes, I understand. Arsenal, Liverpool, they did advance to the quarterfinals. Congratulations to them. This is the rest of the teams that played in the Champions League, especially Chelsea, Tottenham, Manchester City, and Newcastle. It is absolutely ridiculous when you think about it. Going into the round of 16, the Premier League had 6 teams going into that. You would expect maybe half, if not more, going through. Now, granted, Manchester City probably had the roughest road. They had to play Real Madrid. You could argue Newcastle had to play Barcelona. Chelsea had to play PSG. But still, when you are thinking about this, all these teams, you hear how great the Premier League is, how great the players are, how high elite these teams and clubs are. Yet what we witness is just a showcase of the Premier League getting absolutely battered. Now, if we look at the City game versus Real Madrid, yes, they lost the first leg 3-0, and then they drew the next one 1-1. Overall, they lost 4-1. That being said, though, that is still a massive gap between La Liga giants, Real Madrid, and Premier League giants, Manchester City. Then we look at Barcelona, another La Liga team that went against Newcastle. The fact that they outscored them 8-3 and scored 7-2 when Newcastle had to play away just shows you the mentality of how diminished it is. And yes, I understand Newcastle is not on the same level as all these other teams, but you still have to factor in how ridiculous this is. And we haven't even talked about Tottenham. Yes, I understand Tottenham did win today against Atletico Madrid at home, but still the amount of battering they took in that first leg just shows you that the Premier League, the standards that we've been expecting and seeing, I do believe has been dropping through the years, and we constantly have been seeing this. Now, like I said, Arsenal and Liverpool can obviously still rise and bring this back up to where it should be. I do believe Arsenal have probably one of the easier roads to make it to the final. I'm not guaranteeing that they make it to the final. They play Sporting, more likely not going to play Barcelona to make it to the final, whereas Liverpool now have to play PSG and then the likes of Bayern Munich or Real Madrid. All those matches are going to be difficult for them, and we all know how good PSG when it comes to the knockout phases in the last handful of seasons. Last year, they just absolutely steamrolled all the Premier League teams, including Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Arsenal. The fact that one club could knock out almost every Premier League team in the knockout phases just shows you that there are other teams that have higher caliber players and better tactics when you think about it. And yes, this could go on a whole nother tangent talking about set pieces, corner pieces, and how the Premier League has been operating the last handful of seasons, but we're not going to go down that route. We don't need to go down that route because what we're seeing with all these other clubs is high intensity, high octane pressing, playing freely, but also creating so many different chances during open play. And that is what makes it so difficult for the Premier League teams to play against these teams because they get so used to playing against teams in their own league. They expect to do a low block, expect to do some set pieces, and yet that is not what they have to go against. And yes, I understand there's other arguments as well. Some of these clubs have a little bit easier. They can rest in their own league because they are going, again, doing so much better in their leagues, whereas the Premier League, they're constantly battling all the teams around them, which makes it very difficult. But that all being said, the fact that we are now going into the quarterfinals with only 2 Premier League teams right now is just remarkable. And like I said, both these teams, though, could make it all the way to the final. I'm not expecting Liverpool to go very far. They have been struggling this year, especially at Anfield. They're not the same Liverpool team that we've seen during the Klopp era. Arne Slot, it just doesn't get the same results. Yes, I know they won the Premier League last year, but still, it is not the same team. Whereas Mikel Arteta obviously has been in the results for Arsenal, and yes, like I said, they could possibly make it to the final, if not win it. But overall, looking at the entire Premier League as a whole, this has been just a shell shock of how lackluster they've been in the last handful of European competitions, and we didn't even mention Europa League or the Conference League, because even in all those leagues too, the Premier Leagues have been struggling. Currently right now, minus today's matches, we only saw Aston Villa outside of Arsenal, who looked fairly decent. And that being said, we still don't know what's going to happen in these second legs for the Conference League, for Europa, for these clubs. They may still not make it. And so again, I'm curious what people think about the Premier League. has this season definitely exposed them and shown them that they are probably not the best Premier League teams that we've seen, or even the Premier League in general is not the best league, that there are so many different clubs out there that are better than the Premier League and play better football. I want to know what you guys think. So hit the comment down below, make the like button, whatever you want to do. I probably said that backwards. It doesn't matter. But if you did enjoy this content, I do greatly appreciate if you do like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video.